is, say, Leanne Morse. Will lower your hand and go right ahead, Leanne. Hi, Leanne. Hey.
Hi. Pleasure to meet you, Ash, and great to see you, Rob and Tara. And I have questions for both voice actors. What are auditions like, and how did you two manage to get in? And what are the difference between auditioning for live action and voice acting?
Those are some good questions.
Yes. That's right. You're the guest. Go ahead.
Well, there's a really big difference between voiceover and on-camera auditions. They're two completely different worlds, and not everyone can do both. I often say it's like a tap dancer can she do ballet. Like, it's a different art form within the acting world. You still have to go to acting classes and have a really strong base, but it is two completely different mediums. And by the way, within that, there's an unlimited amount of mediums. If you're doing a comedy, if you're doing a serious thing, if you're doing an action adventure, there's all different skill sets that you need. And when you're doing an animated audition, like I said, you get the drawing, you get a character description, and you have to try to imagine what production has in mind for that character and then make it special. Because there's hundreds of people auditioning for that role. I don't know about you, Rob, but I like going first in my home studio, so COVID was not a problem for me. I don't like people listening outside. I don't like making people wait. I don't like taking direction from people that aren't on the show. But by the way, that's not everyone. EG loves it. Like, there's no judgment. I just personally like going first by myself, playing with it. And sometimes I'll take 5 minutes to do an audition, and sometimes I'll take 3 hours. And I will sit in that booth and edit it until I love it, and usually until there's 3 different versions. And then after that, when you get to the callback stage, they might say, we love what you did on your 3rd take. Now we want her a little older, or a little chubbier, or she's missing some teeth, or now she's from, Australia, or now she's a boy. And you have to be prepared to be their silly putty. And then for an on-camera audition, there's even more people vying for those roles. So you better be real familiar with that copy, with those scripts. If you have read the full script to know what's going on around you, whether it's voiceover or on camera, you gotta read the stage directions so you know what's happening, know who the characters are, who you're playing off of. Everything in acting is listening, so make sure you know the line before you and what's going on, and then being really believable in all of those moments. And during COVID, on-camera auditions have been via Zoom, which I also like too, because I'm a little bit less nervous than being, especially if it's something you really want. When it's something you really want, your nerves can take over. And when you're doing an on-camera audition, you sort of have to act as if you're already filming it. You already have to be on set.
Okay.
And this is how it's going to look when the other actors are around you, when the sky's falling around you, or whatever it is. You really have to always put yourself in all those moments. Rob, I'd love you to pipe in and agree or disagree.
And everything, the obvious difference, of course, the other are those that Tara has already addressed. And the thing that I love particularly about Tara's voice work, especially for my female pals and patriots and peers, is that you guys know this. I mean, you have little kids. It's a tough business, especially for women. Very tough for women. And I have literally heard producers who are well-known say something similar to, she's terrific, but she's going to be 35. And I don't even know what to do with that as a person that, if it was so much about this, that my talent was prevented from coming through because people were, I can't really get by the face and the look or the stuff like that. Tara, Ray, Tress years ago used to do a lot of on-camera stuff. But the great thing is that Tara does characters. I don't know how many boy characters Tara does. Tara is not limited by how she looks. It doesn't matter that she's beautiful. It can get in the way of a particular type of performance. That is not an issue in the cartoon world. And I love it. I love it for me, because when I was a kid and I came here, I started to do live action, and I was doing music and commercials and episodic. But like Tara said, I walked in the room and everybody in that room, 50 of them for a Levi's commercial, they could all been my brother and my cousin, every one of them. And when I had a chance to act and do something that could win me the audition, I had a pretty good callback rate. But when it's just walking in, and I remember, I think it was Ash's godmother, Naya Hall, who said, "Boy, the biggest." Your mom would be able to remember. I think it was Naya. Anyway, it was like the most revolutionizing bit of kit in the casting business was the fast forward button on a VHS machine. Just, hi, my name is Rob. Hi, my name is Rob. Next. I mean, it's just, they look at it and go, no, no, no. And I get it. But when you get a chance to act, and as a young person finding cartoons, and all of a sudden the fact that I was 28 or 29 didn't matter, and now that I'm 129, it still doesn't matter. As long as I can do this, I'm killing it.
By the way, Leanne, I just have to say, I love all your Princess Peach imagery on your door back there.
Yeah. My friend drew it for me, and I managed to hang it up in my room.
Good for you. Henry Ford said the same thing.
And I also have another question about what's it like behind the scenes?
Oh, it's awful. We hate each other.
No, well, Leanne, thank you so much for being here and for asking us a question. And again, awesome taste in game characters. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
sweetie. Nice to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, next is Leanne.
Hi,
Let's get you
Leanne.
up on
I've
there,
had the
Leanne.
good pleasure of meeting Leanne a number of times. You've come to see Animaniacs in concert at the City Winery in Boston.
Yeah.
Hi, Leanne.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
you're still
You
muted.
unmute?
Yeah,
There you
I'm
go.
trying to unmute.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Leanne.
You must be Kevin's biggest fan.
Nice.
Yeah. So I do have a question, and so I wrote it down. So you have a great vocal range from bass all the way to soprano / falsetto. How did you do that strong, scary, deep voices, and when did you start doing that?
Oh boy, I guess you would say since I was a kid.
Did you have an early? Did your voice change early?
Boy, you know what? Good question. I would say I had somewhat of a low voice as a young kid, but definitely as you get older, you know, things change.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Things, but I used to. Boy, this is before the VCR was popular. I used to record, and one of my favorite shows as a kid was the Spider-Man from the '60s.
Really?
And I had a little tape recorder, and when it would come on, I would tape the show, and I would bring the tape recorder in my book bag to class, and during recess, I would play it for my friends and act out the scenes and do the voices. Yes, this was like in seventh round, seventh grade.
Nice.
And I would just just play with all these different ranges, and I think as far as the low influence, the low voice influence for me for characters, Barry White had a lot to do with that because my older siblings would play him when I was a kid, and I would just listen to that album over and over and over, and you know, for I guess music class, you know, one of my homework assignments was I guess to come out and do a song, and I remember, you know, here I was like, I don't know, 11 years old or 10 or 12, and just you go, I heard people say that too much of anything isn't good for you, baby, that kind of thing. So it's this kid doing Barry White. So I was a bit odd. So
Would you regale us with a little bit of? Can you sing a little like "Never Get Enough of Your Love, Baby"? Oh no.
my darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby.
Oh my God.
You sound like Cleveland.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Right.
No, love, baby. Oh no.
And just
my God.
and then listening to the, you know, like higher songs, like, you know, like Rob said, like Billy Paul, like Me and Mrs. Jones, and gosh, what was it? The stylistics, like, if I would, I'd like to be a great big movie star, that type of thing. So I would just play with the different
Oh my
ranges,
God.
and music really helps.
Wow.
me. listening to different
I
music.
am
and
a
that's how
musician
I like
myself.
to warm up too before like a session. I would just like play from the highest songs I could do to the lowest songs I can do, and that's another good way to warm up before a session.
And you mentioned the singing range of a soprano, but listen to this guy's Tony soprano. This
Yes.
is great.
I don't know
Yes.
if they're familiar with the Sopranos, are
That's
they?
what you guys are
Oh,
watching.
I think
Soprano?
I've heard you do this voice. It's fantastic, Kevin.
This is nuts. After you know what, if you're not, when Kevin does this, just Google Tony Soprano and it'll blow your mind.
That was with the late James Gandolfini. And
Yeah.
Rob, I guess you would ask me a question that would, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, like question.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. I guess you could say to me, huh?
Being questioned by because of a mob circumstance.
Just say you're like, I just bought a new favorite book called, Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh,
or
okay,
something.
great.
Okay.
Hi, Tony, I got to tell you, man, you got to listen to this. I just bought the most interesting book. It was really, it was literally called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Have you ever heard that? Heard of that?
I sure have. I also heard of a book called Tomato Sauce for Your Ass. It's another book. You might want to try that sometime, okay? And go make me a frickin' sandwich, for God's sake, okay?
You two
Oh,
make me
that's so
laugh.
good. That is so good.
Kevin. Oh my God. And see, he sings, he does everything. You inspired me. In fact, I remember you doing the stylistics, and John DiMaggio and I once on my podcast did this was Anthony Weiner got popped for the second time.
Oh,
And so John backed me up. I was singing. I wrote a little.
I remember.
The shy lights. They said, well, I had to give up my congressional seat because I got caught testing pictures of my natural meat. I'm a wiener. Wiener. Oh, yeah. Why would any New Yorker vote for me? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And it was Kevin doing the stylistics.
Oh, God.
I love that.
Oh. Anyway, thank you, Leanne. It's so nice to see you all. See you
Pleasure
again.
to
Thank
meet
for
you,
being so
Kevin.
sweet and coming to our shows.
And
What
good
was
to
that,
see
Leanne?
Thank you so much, Leanne. We hope to see you next time.
What
Yeah.
did you say, dear? I'm sorry.
Good to see you, Rob Paulson and Ash Paulson, and pleasure to meet you, Kevin.
Yes,
Pleasure.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Boy, man, you guys have some incredible people.
Aren't
Don't
they
we?
the sweetest?
They're really amazing.
Yeah, man.